Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Politihit podcast, proudly presented by Punched Up. I'm Roman, and this week I'll be joined by...
Hello, I'm Leah.
Hello, I'm Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Will.
Hello, and I'm Eden.
And today we'll talk about the over-commercialisation of the arts, because that's always fun. Nice
Oh, you sound so
conversation.
eager about that.
Yeah. So, let's start with the obvious one. Avengers Endgame. That's sort of the ultimate.
The pinnacle of art.
No, it's the pinnacle of the commercialization of art. It's the ultimate proof that we no longer care if a film is good. We just care if it makes money.
Yeah,
I've not watched it.
my main problem with Endgame, and I'm not going to spoil anything for people who haven't watched it.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, I don't mind.
They did things with the characters that they wouldn't do to keep the stories going or to end things that felt unnatural. And the choices they made, it's obvious throughout the whole saga. Things they did were done to keep the story going. Character choices were made that don't fit the original characters, the original stories. It's painfully obvious at times.
Yeah, I get that. I'm very much the person of that. A TV show or a film series or a saga, they need to know when enough's enough. And I respect that more than arguing, when's the next Avengers film? No, if it's going to be ended, there we go. That's it. You need
To be
let
fair,
it go.
they've not ended Avengers, they're just ending the Endgames
No, but you know what I'm
saga.
getting to, don't you?
Infinity Saga, it is.
What that speaks to isn't so much an issue of fan bias. That's actually more an issue of studios going, do you know what? Sometimes films are a gamble, but if we put Robert Downey Jr. in a tin can and slap Chris Evans in there with a frisbee, we will make billions, which they do. Films are no longer a project of passion, they're a capitalist endeavour, which means the arts are losing their value to the soul and adding more value to the banks, which isn't what any of us, most of us here, are capable of calling ourselves artists to some degree. None of us want... You're welcome.
I am in no way an artist, for sure.
You've got blue hair, it's fine.
Oh dear.
Fair.
I'll cross that joke off the book.
It was needed.
So no longer is it a case that we could say to a studio or a person who produces records or a magazine to whom we would send photos, hey, I'm really passionate about this. Can we make it? You'd have to prove to them the commercial viability of the project and therefore the soullessness of the project.
Yeah.
I think it takes away from political messages of art as well. The fact that you've got to make things palatable in order to sell it. You can't just think, oh, I want to put this message across. How do I do that? It's how do I do that and make it palatable for the mainstream.
Well,
Time for our somehow weekly mention of J.K. Rowling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Will said it
sorry.
this week. He's got to put a pound in the
did.
jar.
Is that like the
the
ultimate
thing,
slur?
The thing with J.K. Rowling was she was turned away by, I think it was 3 publishing houses with Harry Potter
Yeah.
before it got ran, which is, showing that people just don't believe in passion projects anymore. And granted, that was 30 years ago now. Oh my god.
However, there are things today which can be passion projects. Like I think, Roman, you'll know the actor who plays the Green Goblin in this Spider-Man series.
Oh, Willem Dafoe.
Yes, he actually takes part in passion projects. He's done one recently. I think it was a 2019 film called The Lighthouse, and he did it for a friend because they were both passionate about it. So it is still seen, but as you say, how many people in The Lighthouse?
Yeah, but how many people saw The Lighthouse because Willem Dafoe was in it? That's also the question. You can make your passion project if you're someone like Tim Burton.
Well, if you have the money to put Willem Dafoe in it.
or you're someone with a name like Steven Spielberg or Tim Burton who got their foot in the door right before we started the ideal of films should make money.
Well, yeah, but they're kind of like the main films, like kind of like the main productions. But people still make like smaller films. You know what I mean? Like there's kind of
But
like
they don't
still
get.
indie films, like there is like indie music.
Yeah.
I know
They
what you
don't
mean.
get
They
the
don't get
same
the same kind
recognition.
of. Yeah,
Recognition.
definitely.
But there's still like a big mainstream within like indie films and indie music.
Exactly.
And there's like bands that claim to be indie but play big arenas.
Yeah.
Never really did the local rounds, like the 1975.
Oh, here we go.
Apparently was already well
Well,
It
to
is
be
the
known.
next
honest,
Blur.
I
Yeah.
have beef with the 1975, but that's because
I think
they
we all
call
do.
themselves an indie band and they are funded by their parents. And also,
Yeah.
my problem
Yeah.
with 1975 is that the lead singer, can't think of his name, but
Matty Healy.
Matty Healy.
his parents, both of his parents, are studio executives.
His
One of
mum's
them
from Waterloo
was
Road.
isn't she? Yeah.
What?
His
one of-
mum's really famous.
Precisely. And I don't agree with that. I'm very much for the indie. Because the thing is, indie, what does it stand for? It stands for independent.
Independent,
So I don't believe that they're particularly independent. You
Yeah, I
look
get
at
that,
people
yeah.
from, you look at the Mancunians, like, I know it's going to be a big cliche, Oasis.
Yeah.
They are the
Yeah.
people who I sit there and I respect because they made their career by just doing what they love. People like, again,
Yeah.
I know I'm going now into the restaurant industry, but Marco Pierre White, someone growing up in Leeds, dad was a labourer. He's one of the most celebrated chefs in the UK.
Marco Pierre White is an example of someone responsible for taking something from an art to... Well, Marco Pierre White actually took a career into an art form. If it wasn't for Marco Pierre White and a photographer who I forget the name of, we wouldn't have celebrity chefs today, because Marco Pierre White made chefing go from a job to a profession. TM.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you look at people like Jacob Collier, even from a really young age, because his mum was
I'm
a
not a huge
famous... Get
Violet.
out.
Yeah.
No,
Because
I'm not a
his
fan.
mum
It's
was...
not that I'm not a fan of his music. I'm not a fan of the kind of persona he likes to put out when he's not that. He puts out, "Oh, I'm one of you guys," yeah, but he's not.
Yeah, with his I've worked out £50,000 Mac Pro.
Yeah, they're very much like hippie dress, but not
He's...
actual.
Yeah, I mean,
But do you want to
he's
finish
sweet,
this?
but it's... Yeah, it's just shows how much easier it is to get your foot in the door in an industry when you've already got those connections from when he was so young. He was, I think it's the Turn of the Shrew or something, the Benjamin Britten opera he was in when he was like 6. He's
Turn the
been,
Screw.
yeah,
I love that.
he's been in the industry for years, but he's been helped by the fact that his mother is such a big name in the industry already. It's a show.
And-
It shows how hard it is for people who don't have that and don't have those connections to actually get in.
The sad part is it's never what you know, it's who you know.
Nepotism. Woohoo!
It's like
Everyone's a Tommy here.
Eden, Will and I
Right obvious.
are somewhat advantaged within the realm of music because we were able to end up finding connections through a choir that we're in. I won't say which choir because I don't wish to dox us.
I had a mate of mine who was on an not an open day, an interview holder, offer holder day with his music school, and it was weird to me because he messaged me because I knew the person who was leading that. I knew of them because of connections that I've got. But I mean, you say that we're lucky to have those, and that's completely true. But even then, I'm so far out and so new to all of this that, say, Eden, because of the school you're at, well, currently working at, you get much closer connections with all of those people, and it's from
But that's never
new
the
into
case.
scene.
You remember how many connections I have with a certain conservatoire, and I still didn't get that place. However, I got at other places which I have then chosen because I wanted to be there. I would never say that I...
Places that may or may not have turned me down.
Aww.
Still not bitter about that one.
The bitterness is out again.
Ugh.
It seems that you've kind of like worked for these connections. It's not like you've just been kind of like giving them a birth.
Well,
Like,
no,
I don't know, like, were you, Roman?
I don't
Like-
know how much you know about me, but I come from a very working class family, and I said a bit about this the other day, that I have worked so
Yeah,
hard
definitely.
to get to where I am right now, and the thing is that's even more upsetting, which I was talking about quite recently, was I'm terrified.
Yes,
I am terrified.
because
I'm going to a city where I've never been before, and with finances which are out of my control.
Where are you going?
Scotland.
we
Okay,
won't
yeah.
say which bit of Scotland, Jennifer, because we don't
No.
want to dox Eden.
Okay.
So,
I've been working out the finances, and I'm terrified.
yeah.
Yeah, same with doing
Because
college
that's a big
fashion.
thing with the commercialization of arts. And I was talking to this with my drama teacher years ago. All of the art schools, they're always private, or you've got to pay, or they're really hard to get into, as opposed to, say,
Yeah.
engineering schools. There's one down the road from me. I think it's UTC, whatever that means in college terms. Engineering school, that's
Universal
not paid.
Training College.
Thank you, that one. They're, I'd say, universal. You don't have to pay, at least for that one, for the admission
Yeah.
and all that. But for music, everything is so expensive down
I
to the
think it's
applications.
nuts that you had to like pay for your auditions, Roman. Like for
Yeah.
I don't have to pay for any of my applications. Like mine would just.
I don't know how much Roman and Will. Well, Will hasn't applied. Will hasn't done auditions just yet. But for me, I had to pay £229 for them to just see.
That's
Just for them
so
to
weird.
just
Sometimes for each
just
one.
for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was. All told, my university applications were £290.
See, that's mad because mine were free, but then why is that fair?
Yeah.
Just because I'm not.
I
paying
applied for
that.
free. And I paid £229. And like, do you see the elitism that's there?
And even back before you even get to like uni stages, art, music,
But that's them to
focused
just consider
schools.
your application as well.
Yeah.
£229 for them to consider you as a potential student.
Yes, already a lot of people have been blocked off from like pursuing the arts.
I paid £50 for somebody to watch a 6-minute YouTube video.
No.
Well, that's the thing. I paid that, but the thing is, I'll be open about it. I didn't pay that money. I had to, because of the situation on a podcast, but I had a brutal application for someone to pay for it,
Yeah.
because I don't have that support to pay for it.
And again, that comes down to like connections that you've obviously had to work hard to form, but if
Yeah, exactly.
people didn't have the same like connections to get scholarships for certain things, then
Oh,
that's going
scholarship
to be a
would
lot
be nice.
harder to get in.
RCS, if you are listening to, I've doxed myself.
I'm not going to edit that out, Eden. You did that of your own
Do you know
accord.
what? I'm gonna say RCS if you're listening to this. Give me a scholarship.
Thank you, Eden.
I'll appreciate it. Love you.
Mwah.
So
I think
if
as
Stephen
well-
Robertson is listening to this, hi.
And we know he is.
He's our number one listener, actually.
That's great. Hi, Stephen.
I thought you just said number Wang, and we're so thrown off.
Oh dear.
I think as well, as much as we're talking about Scotland, arts is very London centric. A lot of like art universities, conservatoires are in
Yeah.
London, and you need to travel to London, get yourself in that kind of constant renting circle,
Yeah.
which most
I
people
have a
can't do.
friend who, granted, he doesn't have to do this, but because of the junior music school he's at, a Saturday one kind of thing, like the JRNCM, not that one. He travels, I think it's like 200 miles each way every Saturday for school
That's fun.
that he pays. Yeah, that, it's like $3,000 a year for him to then have to pay on top of that all of the train fees. It's
Yeah.
the fact that it's so centered and so elitist is so disheartening for someone like me who can't afford to do that and hasn't been able to be in JRNCM, say, for 2 years preparing for this.
Well, that's the fun thing, is that people like us, we like I was looking last night, I was speaking to someone, I was like, right, trying to work out the cheapest train tickets. Because for me to go from Scotland to London, it's like 128 quid just to get to London.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
We found a cheaper ticket for 27 quid.
Yeah, my dad works for a rail company, so I get train tickets for free, so I don't relate to this.
I have
Jennifer,
I have a
who's
rail
your dad?
card, so I
No.
have a rail card, so I've got deeply like cut prices, which is still stressful because sometimes if it's not on your phone, you get caught at a train station for 20 minutes while they try and see if you're trying to break the law. That was fun.
Oh dear.
Well, there's definitely a story behind that.
We'll try and get back on topic. As young artists, there's sort of the formula that getting anywhere in the industries we want to get anywhere in is 20% talent, 20% luck, and 40% your ability to find an investor or someone you're close.
That's up to 80% thing.
What's the other 20% going wrong?
Maths isn't my strong suit, Your Honour.
If I'm going to be honest, I'd think it's more 5% talent, 15%. Actually, no. 5%.
Watch
talent.
music kids trying to do maths.
No.
We can only count in fours.
5% talent, 35% luck, and 60% of who you know.
Yes.
That's how it is.
And it's
Because you see people. Let me just come out with Andre. Yeah, that was 35 plus 5 is 40 plus 6 is 100.
You counted above 4. Well done.
I know. I'm shocked. I'm not a percussionist. I don't have to count assets. Anyway.
Well, you're a tenor. You don't ever have to count.
No, tenor. This is fun industry fact for the audience. All the tenor has to do is rock up and sing. We don't have to. We don't even have to sing the right notes.
This means nothing to me.
At least we're not sopranos. Anyway, back on topic. Eden?
What was I talking about again?
Maths.
Right. So yeah, that makes 100%.
Back to commercialisation of arts, that's another thing in the education system.
Thank you, Will.
I remember a while back, I can't remember who tweeted it or who said it, but a right-wing politician was pressing for schools to drop other GCSEs. It was this year, given all the pandemic stuff. And they're saying, so they can focus more on the ones that matter. Their maths, their Englishes, and their sciences.
It's like, do you remember that campaign that was put out?
Because, oh God, don't even get me started on that. I have never been more
angry.
Remember
the Reskill campaign?
Yeah.
Do you remember that campaign?
Yeah.
Retrain. Just become, a computer scientist.
Be a Cyberman. Be a Cyberman.
Retrain as a Cyberman. Nice.
That's what Rishi wants us to do.
Mm-hmm.
Rishi. Anyway, yeah.
It was so disheartening to see them pressing so against the arts. And granted, I do core subjects still as an A-level student. I do maths because I love it. But to see music so heavily pushed against in all the arts, clearly.
Well, the thing is, everything I studied was art-based.
Yeah. Same here.
So the thing is, in honesty, I am a mad person to decide, oh yeah, let's go and pursue a career in an industry that's on its knees. There's no work.
I possibly incentivized by the way government do things and schools wanting funding. I chose to do A-levels that are very across the board, so I've got loads of backups, but that was definitely incentivized by the government pressing to have things that are useful.
Yeah,
and even back at GCSE, I remember I cried at so many teachers because they were trying to stop me from doing things I wanted to do at GCSE because they wanted the funding. They were trying to push me onto the whatever it's called.
You want me to tell you what I told them? I told them, sod off. They tried to make me do a language. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
No.
Roman,
and when I went to college...
go on. Did Roman get made to take English
Yeah.
alongside to art subjects.
Wait,
because-
did you? I don't know this.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I went sod off. I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Wait, Robin, did you
I
want
want-
to do art A levels and he said no?
Oh wow.
I did not know that.
There's a
Ew.
college near me
You
that
went to
does
school
that.
in-
They're
I can't
very
believe
much like
so.
that.
Because if anyone tried to do that to me, I wouldn't go to that college.
See, I didn't have an option.
Yeah, this was in year 9 for me. I
Anyway.
couldn't have left. I specifically remember it was in a choir rehearsal, and one of the SLT teachers, the leadership, had been like, right, I'm going to have a meeting with you because I want to discuss why you want to do this. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to be consulting me for 3 weeks to ask why I don't want to do history and geography and I wanted to do drama instead. Plot twist, I regret it. But it was
Yeah, yeah.
so disheartening
I liked
for
GCSE
teachers
drama.
for weeks.
And you've got blue hair now, so it really did a
My
number on
class
you,
was really
Jenny.
bad.
We did it
I
for A
didn't-
level. So know what you're
I
talking
didn't
about.
enjoy it in the end.
Yeah, I get that.
It's
Go on.
what it is our teachers care about us. They want us to seem successful. They don't. What they want is
We're a number.
When you see the podcast, nobody can see your little hand gestures.
I did air quotations. I'm not upgrading Zoom. You can bugger off. Anyway, so what our teachers want is for them to look good by having a group of successful students. So they're pushing us away from the low attainment jobs like arts and stuff because they want to push us all into the boxes of success laid out by society.
Do you want to tell you why they don't like us going and following arts?
Go on.
Especially in A level and GCSE, and that's why the government, because arts, it's not a subject, it's a lifestyle.
Wow.
It's
I've
a
got
lifestyle.
a question now. I've got a serious question.
Go on.
How can you actually blame the schools for it? Because I mean, I know obviously it is really
Because they're pushing and pushing us out of what we love. Which
but they need the funding, and that's not
Yeah.
the school's fault. That's the government's fault. So
I
do
think
you
it's a
blame?
bigger
I know. I don't.
No,
I
but-
don't
No, I
blame
think
the
it's- I
school
think it's
because I
bigger
know
than
they were doing what they
schools.
had to
I
do.
get that's where you're venting because that's the easiest place to vent. But
If schools would stand united, the government couldn't do anything. However, they won't do that. I saw a very powerful image today, and I think the quote was, "You never know your true power if you don't stand in unity."
wow.
So if we do not stand in unity, where are the arts going to go? And it's actually very sad to see that we may not have an industry in 4 years' time. I may come out of conservatoire, and I may have to
Rebuild.
pack boxes in a warehouse.
Do you hear the people sing is currently going through my head very loud?
Yeah. And
I mean, I
I've
can't
gotta
say that I
say-
know. Okay, you go first.
Contrary to what you were saying with the teachers thing, I've been very lucky in that the teachers I've had have always been pressing for the arts. It's the people
same.
above them, the leadership, and then
Oh my
clearly
God.
the government incentivising our schools. My teachers have been teaching the art, and for me as well, French, the language, not for the subject qualifications, not for any of that, just so that we can learn those life skills. Because as you said, they are a lifestyle, they're not a subject, they're not something you can ever learn. They're something you have to take on board and really get to grips with. And my teachers have been pushing against the school for so long, so we've been able to do that. But it's just the funding and the incentives from the government to not run those. That's what they're having to fight
Yeah, I
against.
think that's always how it kind of works. Like the smaller kind of people do want to kind of promote the arts, but it's quite difficult when you've got a bigger body who's trying to oppress it.
The arts take a completely different way of thinking to maths and science and so on. The arts,
again, I say unity.
yeah, the arts don't take the approach of a black and white, right or wrong approach. The arts take more of an approach of here is some thought, express it in a way that you feel is the right way to do it. And I think it engages a really powerful form of critical thinking. Like we see it in drama with theatre makers like Brecht and
Burkoff,
God, Brecht.
Burkoff.
Love him.
Sure.
Arto.
Anything for Facts.
in music with people like Nina Simone and Bob
Even when
Dylan
you look at
and
even
Nick
when
Cave.
well, even if you look at avant-garde composers, Stravinsky at his time, Stravinsky, Steve Reich, they do what they're passionate about, and that's the way I want to be. I want to live a life where I'm genuinely happy. I don't care about
Can
money.
I quickly ask about that comment about kind of like the industry were kind of like going like 4 years? So we understand it's had like problems because of like the unspeakable virus. But like as soon as we can, like because of this, I'm gonna go out and like book as many kind of theatre tickets as I can, just because we can now.
But
do you
we
think
may
it
get to
might
a point where it's
revive
too late.
itself?
We
You
may
think?
get to a point
Yeah.
because orchestras are closing by the day.
I don't know. I'm just
Choirs are closing by the day. Theatres are closing by the day. They can't. They don't have. They don't have the funding. They don't have the correct funding. Yes. Thank you for giving us 1.5 billion, 1.59 billion
Of an over £10 billion
But the
industry.
thing is, into
A
the
70 billion
arts,
last year.
into the arts. Let's say that would be okay if it would be more acceptable if it was 1.59 billion into a sector of the arts, because the arts is a very, 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 very big umbrella. It's music, it's drama, it's dance, it's art,
It's literature.
Precisely, poetry, it's public speaking, because public speaking's an art in itself. Anything can be an art.
Photography.
As
There
we
you
said
go,
about
Leah.
Photography's
There you
an
go.
art.
Let's get Leah represented.
But there is so many things that are arts, and it's so sad to see what's happening. And I know musicians who are married to other freelance musicians, and they're like, "Wow, we have struggled." And they don't go on.
Theatres are trying to, like, every time they're able to reopen to help the economy. And every time they do it, it costs millions to get open. And then everything gets cancelled and shut again.
I booked theatre tickets for December, which was okay at the time, and then they got, I booked for Rent and then cancelled. I mean, obviously it's not.
I'm waiting to be able to see Heathers that I was supposed to see last June now.
I was going to see Phantom of the Opera last March. I don't think that's happening at all anymore.
The biggest problem the arts face is the fact arts don't make money from the art alone. A theatre's biggest income isn't tickets isn't tickets. It's merchandise sales. It's the alcohol and the
drinks.
Food and the.
That's the other thing. Arts, they don't support themselves. They support the economies around them. If you look at anything like with football matches, the second there's a big concert or a big event, all the restaurants around the venues full. All of the shops are being filled all day. The cities get massive bursts of life from these small little moments. And it's so disheartening to see those attractions and those things that bring people in taken apart, because that's what brings life into cities and towns. And when we can't do that, we can't bring communities together properly.
But of course, we should all just be Rishi Sunak's Cybermen. And on that note, this meeting is unfortunately coming to a close because, once again, I'm not paying the money to Zoom. They should give it me for free. I've been Roman. Yes, Eden.
Could we talk about what you touched on earlier?
Which one?
It's just left my mind again. That's quite sad. I interrupted you. Oh, it's alright. Just carry on, and I'll think of it if I think of it in the next 2 minutes.
We'll do a part 2 next week.
Yeah. This is an in-depth topic. We can carry it over. That gives me less work. Anyway, So, thank you all for listening. That lot don't need to say goodbye.
Bye.
I'll do it for them.
Au revoir.
Have a week. That's all we can say. We're in a pandemic. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Politihit. If you liked the video, please give us a like. If you disliked it, dislike it. Comment, and remember to subscribe. Only 10% of our listeners are. See you next time.